Tencent's Riot Games is the latest tech company to announce layoffs. The gaming company is saying it will cut 11% of its staff, or about 530 jobs, as it scales back the division that publishes games from small developers. Now, this move is bringing the total number of employees laid off in 2024 to nearly 11,000. That's according to layoffs.fyi. Joining us now is Roger Lee, the creator of layoffs.fyi. So, Roger, give us a sense of this, because where are we comparatively to 2019 in terms of the hiring and laying off cycle?
So it's been a bad recent few months for tech layoffs. Already this year, we're over 10,000 tech employees cut. And that follows a brutal 2023, where over 260,000 employees got cut in the tech sector, which is the largest year since COVID began in 2020.
Roger, though, how much of this is about a correction that we're seeing within these companies? I mean, when you think about the big tech names that have announced layoffs, so much of that has been followed by the fact that they overhired at the height of the pandemic. How much of what we've seen so far this year can be attributed to that? How much of it is about a broader slowdown that some of these companies are seeing?
So a lot of the recent layoffs are still about tech companies trying to overcorrect for their overhiring during the pandemic. Given that the high interest rate environment and the tech downturn have both lasted longer than initially expected, companies like Amazon and Google are finding that maybe they didn't cut enough people in last year's large rounds of layoffs. So they're going back to the well and continuing to implement smaller, targeted additional layoffs.
And of course, we have to talk about the impact of AI. Of course, anytime there's talk about it, you have people shaking their fist at AI, thinking it's going to take their jobs. Obviously, haven't seen that playing out at the moment, but how is that affecting sort of the layoffs and the rehiring that we're seeing of some of this tech talent?
Yeah, even though most of the tech companies are laying off because of broader economic concerns, an increasing number of companies have been citing AI as a reason for layoffs. For example, companies like Dropbox and Meta are both shifting their resources to focus more on AI talent, even as they eliminate jobs elsewhere in their organization.
So what are some of those jobs that are most in demand, given the build out that a lot of these companies are doing on AI?
Well, no surprise, it's everything related to AI engineering. And you're seeing this in tech salary trends as well. According to salary data from comprehensive.io, tech salaries have largely stagnated over the past 2 years. That's no surprise, given that all these layoffs mean that the job market no longer favors employees as much as it once had during the boom times. But that said, AI engineering stands out as the lone exception, where salaries in AI have risen by 12% in a single quarter alone, and have now crossed $200,000 on average for a senior engineer in AI. And that's just cash, including stock. Those compensation packages can be upwards of $1 million.
And so with that in mind then, Roger, how much of is there a skills gap versus the demand that we're seeing? I mean, how many of these require, a bachelor's degree or something more advanced versus some of this training that people can do to try and snap up some of these jobs?
Well, the most in-demand roles in AI certainly require a lot of experience and knowledge. So that does have a larger barrier to entry to be able to qualify for some of those most senior, highest paying AI engineering roles. But the good news is that AI is still kind of in its infancy in terms of its long-term potential. So that means it's not too late for folks to be able to get up to speed on how to use AI, how to build for AI. And because with tools like ChatGPT, AI is so accessible, it's fairly easy for even the average person to start playing around with AI and to start figuring out how they can use AI to be productive at their own jobs.
Yeah, Roger, I don't know, that mention of a $1 million compensation package. Going to get a lot of people thinking about getting into AI. Roger Lee, the creator of layoffs.fyi. It's good to talk to you today. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.